Hey there, welcome to episode 41 of the Dodgeball Marketing Podcast. How you doing? My name's Chris, and this is Michael.
Hey.
Hey.
Doing great.
Okay. See, I made that awkward. It wasn't awkward, and then I made it awkward.
That's right.
Today we're going to talk about Google My Business and how to use Google My Business for better SEO. And if we're talking about local businesses, Google My Business is, I don't know what the percentage is, like what the ranking factor is, but it's big.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're doing.
It's a big deal. So step number one is claim your Google My Business listing.
Yeah, we're going to go over 5 things you can do here. It's always 5 things here with us.
That's right.
So we're going to do 5 things you can do to improve your Google My Business and help it improve your SEO. So go ahead, Michael.
I would say it's been less than 12 months since I had a new potential client tell me that Google Maps was not really relevant to their business. And you could not be more wrong. I showed them that their listing had not been claimed and that they were subject to someone getting it. And they said, well, people don't drive to where we are. And we don't really depend on that for business. And I said, okay, well, let's back up. Let's think about how the internet works. Google is looking for external signals to know how to rank websites, and the ones who have their act together rank higher. And then here's where this gets tricky. So this is kind of like obvious, claim your Google My Business listing. Anybody who's kind of been around marketing for, 6 months, 12 months of their career, whatever, should know this. But here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes Google will do things like identify if you have a separate website, maybe for a product that you've launched that's just a subsidiary service or product of your company. Occasionally, Google will do things like look at that product and see it all over the internet and say, you know what? I guess that's a business. I guess that's a company. And you might say, well, we don't really want to set that up as a separate thing. Well, guess what? The internet's going to decide for you, even if it's not a separate corporate entity. They will often create a new Google My Business listing for you. So what we recommend is go ahead and claim it, decide how to manage it from there. But yeah, for any kind of exposure that you have, anything that's unclaimed, you need to lock that down. You need to claim it. And so the way you do this is really easy. Get on your computer, go to Google Maps, find your business. If you see that it's not claimed, go ahead and make sure that you're logged in through a Gmail account that you like having, that is not sort of a trash email account or one that you don't have a password to or something crazy. But make sure that you're logged in to a Gmail email account, create one if you need to, and use that as your kind of home base for Google My Business stuff. And claim the listing. You're going to get some kind of verification option and go through the steps. And Google, I don't want to get too deep into the steps because that stuff changes, but just basically work the process.
They'll send you a card.
Yeah, they're going to send you a postcard in the mail is what's going to happen. And you need to figure out how to have somebody set up to make sure that they know that that's important, have them take a picture of it and get it to you right away because it's going to expire. And you may have to do this process a couple of times. It's really easy to throw those cards away. And if you're, doing this on behalf of someone, a lot of times, we're trying to coordinate for somebody who's at a different location to receive the card and then claim it. You just need to communicate, show them a picture, kind of what they're watching for in the mail, and get it claimed.
Yeah, awesome. And so step 2 here is complete and update your Google My Business listing. So this is probably something that will take a couple hours, maybe, depending on what all you have to put in there. But there's all kinds of places you can fill out information, photos, you can describe photos, tag photos, all that stuff. So just a list of things you can do to complete that. Business info, location, hours, description, phone, email, website, reviews, although reviews are user generated, so that we'll cover that in another step. Messaging, set up your messaging so people can actually message you from your Google My Business profile. Set that up. Photos. You can do external photos that users submit. You can do your own photos. You can categorize your photos of what they are, either the building or internal staff photos. You can categorize those. So make sure that if you have all that, upload them, categorize them appropriately. Post, this is more of an ongoing thing, but you can actually post updates to your Google My Business profile. Google loves to see a regularly updated GMB listing or maps listing. Keywords, putting in your keywords of what you want to serve for, especially local keywords. Seasonal updates if you have different hours for different holidays. Services, what services you provide. You can rank your services that you provide. So make sure all that is filled out, and as many as you can. I don't know what the max is, but as many as you can fill out. If you're a business that has a lot of different services, see if they're listed in one of the pre-populations and fill out as many as you can. And there's even stuff now where if you're a woman-owned business or a black-owned business, there's a little signifiers you can put for that. So if that applies to you, fill that out too. So anything that you can fill out that gives Google an indication of what you are, who you serve, what you do, that sort of thing.
And they may have veteran-owned in there too. I can't remember.
Veteran-owned might be one,
That might be
So
one, yeah.
it's in there. So if any of those apply to you, stick it on there. Fill out your profile as completely as possible. And it might mean you need to go snap some pictures of your either the team or work sites. Oh, another thing we can put in here, this is a little bit of sidebar, but like in terms of location, a cool thing you can do in the photos section, if you're a business that serves different communities, a little sneaky thing you can do is go out and with your phone take a picture of a work site or something that you've done in the community, and if you upload that from your phone, your phone tags that geolocation, GPS, and Google uses that information. And so if you can tag that, Denver work site or whatever, however it applies, Google will use that and the location from the photo as a signifier of oh, this is an actual photo taken in this location.
Right. That's a good one.
And it'll that's information that Google uses to know that this is an actual service area. They actually have a picture from that area, and from the GPS that gets tagged in a photo. All the phones do this. They'll tag the location. So that's kind of a
pain to have to go manually set that meta content with a JPEG, but we've had to do that before.
Yeah. All right, next, Michael.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Chris. Next up, and one more on that service area, but if you want to look at that more, look at episode 40. Of the Dodgeball SEO podcast.
Yeah, we went through that in a deeper way.
Next up, know your goal for Google star ratings and work your review rating up. One of the big factors in Google My Business that's been major in SEO, this is a really major influence in the industry over the last, 5 years? Ratings and reviews. But it's been one of the things that's been kind of top of mind for us in all of our conversations around SEO going back for a few years. And I would say that Google was not necessarily the front edge of this, but they reacted quickly and became a major player. I feel like Yelp was kind of an instigator here. But Google has made this a major factor in...
Actually, Amazon was the instigator.
Amazon, sure, with product ratings. We used to do a lot of sort of user-generated content for websites when rating systems and reviews of products were new for user-generated content. But this has really kind of crept up in a way that's really critical. And for a business, this Google My Business rating is almost a business asset. So that's like another way to think about how to justify resources around this activity. But so we've got a little interesting stat that we want to share. This is from Bright Local. And I'll describe how this plays out a little bit in more detail. But positions 1 through 3 in the local pack in search results are often going to average a rating, or in the aggregate are going to average a 4.7 star rating out of 5. Positions 4 through 6, a 4.6.
A tenth
of a point
star from being on the snack pack.
Being the easy choice to being
you have
dark
to click
web.
To see more the dark web. It's I don't want to click that. I don't know. That's weird.
And it continues. Slots 7 through 10. Another small blip, 4.45. And so and check Bright Local for the actual numbers there. But it's like this really small step. From one to the other, and there are other factors that are influencing.
Yeah, I don't think the story this tells is like, oh my gosh, if I'm at 4.7,
that's not the story
it tells. Edge.
That's right.
What it says is what you were alluding to. Like there are other factors, and you don't have to have a 5.0 to get on What talk about what those other factors
Yeah,
are.
if you go out and do a search, you're going to see people with 3.6 star ratings popping up above a 4.6. So this isn't true in an individual search. This is true in the aggregate. So what we're saying is here is it's statistically relevant as an SEO factor. Other factors are going to include location. Proximity, yeah.
And what they
searched for.
What they search for, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have that listed on your GMB profile and on your website, you're more you're more likely to sign up for it than somebody that didn't.
That's
do
right.
that.
And following that, user behavior. So if users have clicked on something where there was a high correlation, say to service area proximity, a highly localized term like a city neighborhood name, like Green Hills Dentist, and as opposed to Nashville Dentist. So the click and the user behavior is a signal to search
use that
engines.
as a feedback.
So it's a very complex picture, but what Bright Locals teased out for us here through their research is very helpful. It's telling us that reviews are statistically relevant. So there's no getting around it. And so this is a big deal. So know your rating and kind of have a plan. And I would treat this as a KPI.
How many are you requesting each month? How many are you getting each month? What the average star rating each month? Track all that.
Yeah, the KPIs we're using for ourselves is how many ratings we're trying to add every month. That's kind of where we are right now in our evolution. But for a bigger company than us, I would say some KPIs would be what you just said. How many are we requesting?
Yeah.
How many are we getting?
Yep.
What is the new average? The average of the ratings received.
So you can see how it's moving over time.
So you can see how that's changed over time and capture that every month. And then what's our average in the aggregate for a live Google My Business listing?
That's great. And so this next one flows directly from that because your star ratings are so significant in how you rank in Google Maps. You need to have a workflow set up. So number 4 here, number 4 is set up a workflow to get reviews. This should be a core part of your marketing standard operating procedure if you're a local business. So it's really 3 steps. And then there are tools you can use. If you have a high volume of customers, there's tools like Bird Eye you can use to automatically ask for the review and then notify you. And so there's the more customers you have that you can sort of automate this using tools. But the basics are identified prospects or happy customers. You don't want to ask. That's important because you don't want to ask somebody that's angry because you did something wrong or you made them unhappy. You don't want to ask them for the review because they're going to oblige you on that and they're going to roast you, right? So identify happy customers, make sure they're happy, make them happy, then ask for the review, and then contact them and include a request for a review. So this can be part of your standard operating procedure. So you need to have an email template, and the secret here is Google Maps gives you a specific link that you can share to your customer where they don't have to go and search for you and then find your Google My Business profile and then find where there's a link where you can give it to them and say, hey, click this link, and it pops up the review box.
Yeah. And the way we like to evangelize this within the organizations that we serve is we create a document that says, hey, here's some text that you can use in an email to ask for a review, Mr. Sales Rep.
Yeah.
And we have in that text the link that drives the recipient, their ultimate customer, directly to a pop-up modal for entering that 5-star. And something we do in that email text is we use the phrase 5-star. And Yelp is really sensitive about driving more reviews, but other platforms are a little bit more flexible. If they know that it's legitimate, real stuff coming through, then it's cool. And refer to Google's terms and conditions for anything you do. That's not our responsibility. We're not offering, for example, legal advice. But when we sort of market this in-house, or when we promote in an organization how to go about doing this, we encourage saying, hey, if you feel like we've earned a 5-star review, we'd love for you to share your experience on the internet. Here's a link if you want to do that.
That's great. And then finally, I would say have a process to follow up. So this should be considered like a little mini sales effort, right? So I would gently follow up with them maybe 1 or 2 times after getting a yes from them. Like, yeah, I would be happy to submit a review.
I think this is a real missed opportunity that you've identified that we've talked a lot about this year.
Yeah, I would just reach back out, maybe give it a week, reach back out to them. It's like, hey, did you get a chance to leave a review? No worries either way. If you choose not to do it, either way, we're happy that you were a happy customer. Just let me know how we can serve you in the future. Just kind of a really kind follow up. And most of the time, people will, especially if they've said yes, I'll leave a review. Like, crap, I told them I'd leave a review.
Yep.
I better go do it. You know.
Yeah,
so just a really soft follow up.
I've heard you say people are busy. And so how many touches do you think is appropriate for something like that? How many pings or how many just kind of check-ins or soft, gentle reminders?
No rush. It just really helps people. It really helps us in getting new customers. So just let us know when you're able to do it. No rush. Just kind of a really soft follow-up is a good way to catch people that were busy the first time you asked them and they fully intend to do it, but
got buried in the inbox.
Yeah.
How many do you think, Chris? Would you go 3 to 5 touches is fine to try to follow that review and chase it in?
I would do 2 to 3.
Okay.
Like you don't want to follow them 5 times. If they don't do it after 2 to 3 times, then it just wasn't important enough to them, and you don't want to bother them. I would do the initial outreach, get them to say like, the initial outreach I think should be really short. Like, hey, would you be open to giving a review? And then usually you'll get, yeah, happy to. Then you send them the link, and after you get that yes commitment, it's going to be easier to follow up after they've committed to yes, I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then it's going to be really easy to follow up. Because like, I'm just following because you said you would do it. Just wondering when. Like, let me know if you need help. That kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and a best practice along that a lot of folks do, if they have folks who are out in the field who are meeting with customers, is they'll literally say, "Hey, we just finished up the project, did the walkthrough. You're happy, we're happy. Would you be up for writing a review right now? I'm going to send it to your phone right now. Can we do this?"
Yeah,
get it in real time.
All right, running out of time here. What's
Great.
the last one here,
Yeah,
Michael?
no, that was it. We just covered the last item. Yeah, we kind of
responding
tag
to
team
reviews.
on creating a response. So that's episode 41. Hey, we're really excited about new episodes of this podcast coming out, and so follow us on social media channels to get the new episodes. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and we would really love for you to subscribe and stay aware. This is a podcast for practitioners. We want to serve marketing directors, managers, VPs, founders, owners, people who are figuring out how to increase their business on the internet. We're not really trying to be a podcast for experts. There are plenty of good resources and people smarter than us to do that. But we want to be here for the people who are trying to learn how to do this to improve their businesses. So follow us on those socials, and we'll see you on the next one.